Welcome inside another edition of 3rd and 3 right here on the CTS Network. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Ray, the SEC Superfan, and today we're going to have a great show for you guys. But let me first go ahead and pull up one of my co-hosts, the founder himself, Joey Lozada. And Joey, I do want to say something before I pull you up. I hope that you were in a better mood this week because you were pretty snippy and pretty hateful last week when I didn't talk with you about getting Clemson Tom on the CTS. You still look pissed.
I still don't understand why he's here.
Because he's a rock star, man. He's a rock star just like I am. And who knows, you could learn a few things from old CT.
What can I learn from him? STDs? Go ahead. Go.
Spitting on trains? I don't know.
He's spitting on choo-choo trains.
Well, are you ready to bring in the guy that you hate and the other co-host of this show, Joey?
Sure.
Yeah, you look really happy to see him. CT, how's it going up there in Clemson, my friend?
It's going great. Joey, you're inside with hat and sunglasses on, buddy. Wait, who you hiding from? It's not a good look. Then again, nothing you have is a good look, so it doesn't really matter.
All right, guys, so here's my question for you. We're talking about an Alabama alum and a Clemson alum. Obviously, Tua is down in Miami, and Trevor Lawrence is there with Tim Tebow and Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. Guys, who do you believe is going to win a Super Bowl and or a playoff game first? Is it going to be Trevor or is it going to be Tua?
Trevor.
Seriously?
Yeah.
No, I think Tua would win first. The Dolphins are primed to compete in a playoff with all they need is a good quarterback.
I believe the Dolphins can win, but I love Tua to death. Tua will always go down my heart as one of the greatest Alabama quarterbacks of all time. Unfortunately, he's made of glass.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things about I didn't understand about Tua being drafted so high. He gets injured so easy. I mean, I love Tua. Don't get me wrong. I love Tua. Thank you, Tua, for the national championship. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. But
he's injury prone. You're saying he's injury prone.
Yeah. Am I saying he's injury prone?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence. Anything Urban Meyer touches is championship.
He cheated in college blatantly.
Well, he could cheat in the NFL. Blatantly.
No, not the way you could there. No, you're dealing with grown men now. You're not dealing with.
Hello, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady didn't cheat.
Belichick.
They didn't cheat.
Yeah, the deflate gate, bro.
I wish the Falcons would learn how to cheat. Golly.
Yeah, the Patriots are definitely the cheaters. Let's call it what it is. But at the same time, Brady's the GOAT for a reason. The guy's unbelievable. Look at Tampa Bay. From worst to first, literally 1 year. No cheating.
News broke last week that Oklahoma and Texas both want to join the SEC. And earlier this week, they actually filled out the application to join the SEC. Do both of you guys feel like that this is a good move for the SEC or a bad move?
It's a good move. It's a good move for the SEC. The reason why is because just more kick for Alabama. Look here. Anytime you get a sorry team like Texas to come over to the SEC, just gonna make our schedule look more easy and get easy. Is easy way to get to the championship. Oklahoma, though, I am a little worried about. Oklahoma is going to be a powerhouse. Oklahoma is always a powerhouse.
With Oklahoma,
huh?
Why do you say Oklahoma's going to be a powerhouse?
I mean, look at the history.
Do you play defense at Alabama?
Alabama plays defense. Alabama is defense.
Does Alabama play defense?
Yes.
Then you'll be fine. The Big 12 is all offense. They score 70 points, but meanwhile their defensive backs are trash.
Hey, listen, Oklahoma has a history of beating Alabama, so it is what it is.
Look, history doesn't add points to the scoreboard. Every single time you go in there and strap it on, it's a brand new day. That's a brand new game. It's a brand new game plan. Everything. I hate when people are like, oh, well, the history is. Well, the history doesn't add points. When we talk about how we beat the Gamecocks like 7 years in a row, that doesn't matter. We don't walk in and be like, well, we beat you 7 years. That's at 10 points. Doesn't matter. Oklahoma's trash. Texas is trash. It was all about money, just like it always is. Now the SEC huh?
Wait, hold on. You said you like to beat.
Yeah.
What?
The Gamecocks. Daggum right. It was all about money. Now the SEC can expand throughout the entire state of Texas. They've got Texas A&M. Now they have Texas. Now they're going to have Oklahoma. It's all about money. It always is. It always will be. College football is the biggest money maker out there. It beats the NFL. It beats pretty much any other sport out there. It's insane. The SEC is cashing checks right now. They don't care who they're going to bring over. The only thing they care about is the prestige of the brand, and then how many people are going to start watching. Now you have the entire state of Texas watching. It's over. All it is the money.
What's this going to do with the rivalry against Texas A&M? I mean, now Texas and Texas A&M can bring that rivalry back.
Pretty much. Now they have an instant rivalry, and it's perfect.
I mean, it's
congrats to the SEC.
I agree.
They made their own. They are basically their own bank account right now. They go in there and they just hit Saban's phone number for the PIN number. That's it. It's done.
It's money.
Are you guys worried potentially about Texas destroying the SEC like they did the Southwest Conference, and then of course they forced out Colorado?
You talked about this last week, Sting. You know, and you said your piece about it. You know, honestly,
they're not.
I don't think Texas can destroy the SEC. No team can come into the SEC and destroy it.
Finally, the conference is bigger than Texas. Texas, for some reason, thinks they invented football. Now I know Texas high school football is amazing. They've written books on it. They've got TV shows about it. They've made movies about it.
Yes,
but this is on a Saturday, and the SEC does not need Texas. Texas, in this case, needs the SEC. And Texas is always screaming they're back. They're back from where? I'm 40 years old, and they've only been good. They've only been good for what, 3, maybe 4 years of my life, like legit good, like top 5 national championship.
What do you think this is going to do to the other conferences? Like the
it's going to make them. There's going to be so much realignment now, and now with the whole the players getting paid. Like all the players are going to go to big time schools now just because of the popularity, the brand awareness that they have now. So all these kids that were going to App State just to play right now, and technically App State is beaten and can still beat big time Division I schools. Now they're going to want to go to the Alabamas. Now they're definitely going to want to go to the Michigans, the Ohio States, because the NIL is making them more. They're a brand. They're not a player anymore.
Yes. As
soon as they graduate high school, it's officially it's what they did is. I get it, I understand it. I think the kids should be paid somewhere along the line, but it's going to be ruined now. Everyone's going to be all about their brand and everything else. They're going to be cashing checks and not really. That's just how I feel.
Clemson Tom, are you trying to tell me that Clemson is going to go back to sucking? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
This is what I wish we would go back to. Your joke's making sense. You're taking jabs like my 8-year-old out here. Like
I'm not taking jabs. I'm asking the question. Are you trying to say Clemson is going to go back sucking? Because nobody. I mean, Clemson is not it's in the ACC. It's not one of those prestigious college football schools. You only got 3 national championships. Is Clemson going to get hit by this big story? Oklahoma and Texas coming to the SEC. Not only Clemson. Is Notre Dame going to get hit? Is Ohio State going to get hit? is Michigan. Michigan has been, you know,
Joey,
for a very long time.
Let's stop.
No, answer the question.
I'm going to answer your question. I'm trying to answer your question. So let's stop here and let's use one of these up here. We're going to use our brain. So let's say your average kid graduating high school is 18 years old, right? You would agree with that?
No, I don't.
You wouldn't agree the average kid is about 17, 18 years old?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Jesus. Okay, for the past 10 years, this kid has been watching college football, right? Like, since he was about 10, you know, let's just talk 5. Let's talk 7 years when they actually started paying attention to college football because they're also playing their Pop Warner and everything else on Saturdays. But what teams have been in their forefront? What teams are they constantly seeing for the past 10 years? These kids coming up right now don't care that Ohio State had 2 Heisman Trophy winners. They don't care about that. What team is constantly in the forefront? What coaches are constantly in the forefront? Where are the coaches constantly at? Who is always on ESPN?
Are you arguing with me to make my point?
No. What I'm trying to tell you right now is Clemson has been on the forefront of pretty much everything when it comes to national championships, when it comes to Dabo, when it comes to the facilities, everything. They've done everything they can to project themselves to be in the forefront of all these young kids. They have all these crazy camps that they do all this fun stuff for. So no, they're not instantly going, well, James, I'm sorry. I know you like Clemson. I know you like Dabo, and they're winning national championships, but you're going to Michigan, kid. Why? Because they have this brand, and Bo Schembechler was there. And oh my gosh, you got to focus on that. You got to start thinking. Use this.
But the one thing that Clemson doesn't have is a good conference.
Especially in football. It's not about that.
And then why is Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC then?
For money. I just told you this. It's all about money.
So
making it rain.
And I know it. SEC is going to make it rain for all these players.
Okay. Well, let me know how much conference money it takes to win a championship.
Let me know when Clemson wins another championship because of this. It's not going to be in the near future.
Okay. That's the dumbest thing you've said in a while. And you say a lot of dumb things.
Okay.
Put your thinking cap on. Take this trash off and put a thinking cap on.
So who's going to win the national championship this year?
I don't know. We still got to play the season. You still got injuries that can go down. We have another pandemic.
Do you think Clemson's going to be a contender? I don't.
Yeah, I do. 100%. You really don't think we're going to be a contender for a national championship?
It's not going to be Clemson.
You can't be this stupid.
You can't be this stupid.
You daggum right, I can't be this stupid because you're here. There's a certain level, and you're exceeding it.
You honestly think Clemson's going? You honestly think Clemson's going to be in the national championship run? You crazy?
Do you need therapy? Are you serious right now?
I cannot wait to see your. I cannot wait to see your face when Clemson's not in like the top 15.
Say that again. I don't. You're speaking a different language because I don't speak ignorant, and that's what you're speaking. Okay. Now. Stop. Drop.
Say your piece.
Go down. Open up shop.
No, say your piece.
There's nothing to say. You're talking like nonsense over here.
Yes or no?
Why don't you go to some art shop and start weaving together dream weavers or something? Sell some.
Why won't you just go ahead and say it right now?
You're not making any sense.
You get angry to back up your point. You get angry to back up your point. I understand you're trying to get angry to back up your point. But the fact of the matter is this, and you call it people names, but the fact of the matter is this: Clemson is not going to win a national championship. They're not going to even be contenders this year.
Okay.
Just say it. It's okay. They're going to go to a good bowl game, maybe. It's not going to be something I'm going to watch, but I mean.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me just go on ahead and introduce to you Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Stephen, how are you doing today, sir?
Glad to be back here with you, Sting. Doing well. It's Saturday. It's the weekend. We are about 43 days away from college football.
Yes, so it's going to be awesome. So let me just go ahead and ask you this. How did you get the opportunity to work for such an awesome magazine such as Touchdown Alabama magazine?
It's a very intriguing story. I started off doing this as a high school sophomore. I was 15 years old, and I guess people can chop it up to whether I was very hungry about it or very desperate about it. But whatever the case may have been, I've always enjoyed Alabama football, and I got a chance to be a part of this publication at 15 years old. At that time, this was back in 2009, I was just doing kind of the internet stuff, but some of the behind-the-scenes internet stuff. And then after I did that from my 10th grade year through my senior year upon me graduating, which that was 2011, then they threw me to the Wolves. 2011, I was out there covering Nick Saban press conferences, covering practices, and kind of getting the full feel of what it means to really be a part of the program, covering games, events, and that type of stuff. And that kind of just grew to building the profile and SEC Media Days, and of course, building the profile of going to SEC championships and bowl games. Of course, now college football playoff, got a chance to cover 2 national championship games in my time. Should have been 4, but unfortunately had some car issues, some vehicle issues. So the other 2 championship games I would have been at was not able to make those 2, but have had just the utmost joy having the opportunity to be a part of something that's been very special in Tuscaloosa, and been doing this since I was 15 years old.
Well, I'm going to give you the option. You can choose. Can you please tell us either your most exciting moment of working with the magazine or a funny moment working with the magazine?
Well, an exciting moment working with the magazine would have to definitely be the first national championship that I covered, which that was the 2016 game off the 15 season, the first matchup between Alabama and Clemson in Glendale, Arizona. It was crazy because at first I didn't think I would have the money to get the plane ticket. And I remember my childhood church had a Christmas party, and the prize money was $1,500. So I put my name in the basket there, not really thinking I was going to win the $1,500, just put my name in the basket there. And out of nowhere, my name gets pulled out the basket. So I'm like, holy crap, I just won $1,500. God is awesome. So I sit there and I take the $1,500 and I go and I get me a plane ticket through United Flights, and I get my plane ticket. This is my first time flying on the plane, so everybody in my family is giving me, advice on how to fly a plane or get on the plane, that matters. Yes. So I go through the customs. It all goes pretty smoothly there. My sister hands me a stick of gum and chew this, because if your ears start popping on the plane, you're going to get annoyed to death. So I take the stick of gum, I get on the plane, and there was some turbulence there, so we couldn't take off immediately from Birmingham. So I had to wait 2 hours before we take off. But we get to Houston, Texas, and I stay in Houston overnight, and I'm sharing a phone charger with 20 different people in the Houston airport. So I sleep there overnight. I get up the next morning. As I get up the next morning, so I get a phone call from the family. They're like, Stephen, are the bags okay? I'm like, I'm doing well. Thank you, people. Stephen, how about the bags? You're a living, breathing human being. I'm good. I'm well. Stephen, are the bags? Yes, the bags are okay. The bags are fine. But I want y'all to be concerned about me here. But I end up making the transition from Houston to Phoenix, Arizona. Was outstanding, and got a chance to spend some time there with my sister and my brother-in-law while I was there. And then the game itself, the game itself was incredible. You talk about a back and forth matchup. Deshaun Watson gave us all a mini heart attack. That kid can play. A kid can flat out ball. But Derrick Henry on the first play, rushing touchdown for him. And what a game from Jacob Coker. Throwing the football that he had. Lane Kiffin finally decided to unleash O.J. Howard at the most opportune time. And then, of course, the 95-yard kick return from Kenyon Drake, who had been through so much in his life. And, of course, when Kenyon scored, he scored right in front of me. That was unreal. Like, when he scored, he knelt right in front of me. I'm like, oh, wow. So, I mean, that was insane. And so after the game had ended, one of my good friends, Cole Thompson, he and I both went to Alabama together, the university that being, and we're coming down the elevator, and Cole is like, "Steven, hug me. This is the greatest moment of my life. Hug me." So I'm hugging Cole Thompson off the elevator. I'm like, why am I hugging Cole? But Cole and I are hugging each other for like 5 minutes. So after that, I'm trying to find my way out of the stadium. I'm able to find my way out, but it was great. Probably the best part of the whole trip staying was my brother-in-law took me to Lolo's Chicken and Waffles in Scottsdale, Arizona. If you think Gladys Chicken and Waffles and Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Atlanta something, you got to go to Lolo's in Arizona. I mean, these people give you these big, huge Belgian blueberry waffles with like chicken all over the waffles. And they're serving you Kool-Aid out of a mason jar. It is outstanding stuff right there.
Man, that's fantastic. And I bet it was phenomenal too, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh, Sting, I wanted to replace my blood with the Kool-Aid, and I wanted to pay rent there. Like, I was wanting to pay rent just right there.
Yes. Well, let's jump to some huge news as of last week about possibly the Longhorns of Texas and the Oklahoma Sooners possibly joining the SEC. First off, how shocked were you by that news, and what are your thoughts on them potentially coming in?
I was shocked because it came on the heels of SEC Media Days. It came on Wednesday, and that was the conversation from Wednesday to right now. So when you look at the two founding fathers, the two founding members of the Big 12, Texas and Oklahoma basically hold the conference up. I understand Oklahoma State under Mike Gundy's pretty good, and Iowa State under Matt Campbell's doing a great job over there, and TCU has some good runs over there also. There's some solid programs, but Texas and Oklahoma, they hold the program, they hold the conference, I should say too, where it is at this point. And it was just shocking to see how the Big 12 commissioner, I guess, not putting more of a fight to maybe keep these two within the conference. As we've been told on Monday, they're going to talk to the Big 12 officials and saying they are not staying within the conference. They are leaving. They are moving out. Now, the question becomes, do they wait until 2024? Because in 2025, the league rights expire. So by 2025, they could just freely go to the SEC. Or are they willing to pull the effective immediately type deal and give up the last 4 years of the contractual agreement to the Big 12 revenue, which both teams combined, that's $160 million. Both teams will have to fork over the $80 million if they're trying to leave effective immediately. So that's the big thing there. Now, I heard from a source close to Texas that this is legit. This is the real deal, and they are going to break away from the Big 12. It's just a matter of when and how fast can they get this done. But I guess for them joining the SEC, it's intriguing because of the fact that Texas and Oklahoma want more of that SEC money. And then at the same time, I feel like the fans out there, you want to see bigger, better matchups. And we've always been about the BBD, the bigger, better deal. How could I get the big matchups? How could I get the fun matchups? How could I get the elite teams, the marquee teams to consistently play each other every single week to keep my attention on the screen? People have always talked about, let's do away with these cupcakes, these lesser tier matchups. Let's get the big guys on the field every single week. How can we go about doing that? So bringing in Texas and Oklahoma, it would provide bigger matchups. It would provide better matchups. My thing is where geographically, how would we do this? Would it be, 8 teams on the East and 8 teams on the West? Or will it be 4, 4, 4, and 4, where you have the SEC North, South, East, and West? I mean, I've heard it from different spectrums of the conversation. It's a shock, but I can see why it's trying to happen.
Yes. Well, let me just go ahead and throw this at you about the Longhorns of Texas. With their track record, they have pretty much destroyed the Southwest Conference, and they were instrumental in pushing A&M, Nebraska, Colorado, and Missouri out of the Big 12 because of their greed with the Longhorn Network. Do you feel like that, or are you worried about that happening with Texas joining the SEC?
My main thing with Texas joining the SEC is, will they give up the autonomy of the Longhorn Network?
Right.
Because you already have the SEC network over here.
Right.
So is Texas willing to give that up is going to be the big question. And then number two, once you hit the SEC, we all know the SEC is a completely different monster. When you look at recruiting, when you look at coaching, when you look at winning. And the big thing for Texas, can Steve Sarkisian hit as a head coach? That's the biggest thing for Texas, because Sark became a head coach in his early 30s. We know the story, him taking that job at Washington and it not going the way he would like for it to, got fired there, went to USC. That didn't go as planned, got fired there. Now he's older now. He's mature now. He's learned some things now. But at Texas, we all know you have to answer to 20 to 30 different power brokers down there. You have to answer to 20 to 30 different billionaires on the way to work and the oil tycoons on the way to work that's trying to run your program underneath you. Does Sarkisian have what it takes to tell the people to get off, where to get off, and run the program the way he wants to run that program? That's the biggest thing with Sark, because if he has those nerves of steel, but I think Texas can make that return to being a relevant program like it was with Vince Young, like it was with Colt McCoy. If he does not have those nerves of steel, then it's going to be very hard, not just on Texas, it's going to be very hard personally on Sarkisian. So the biggest thing for Texas is, can Sark hit as a head coach?
Well, let me just go in and say this, and this is not a knock, but I can guarantee you with the personality of Coach Saban, he would have no problem telling those billionaires where to stick it.
He would not. I mean, Saban came to Tuscaloosa laying down the law. I mean, the moment Saban touched down on Tuscaloosa soil, the people knew we are not going to run. We are not gonna phase this man. And on top of that, when you have a woman even more determined than Saban, Miss Terry, you are not gonna rub Miss Terry off. So if you're gonna not rub Miss Terry off, you're not gonna rub Nick off. So you brought those two together on Tuscaloosa soil. Good luck trying to dictate terms on those two. Does Sark have that same wherewithal? That's the concern.
Hopefully that rubbed off on Sark underneath Saban. Hopefully. All right, and my last question for you is this. If you had to project this season right now for the Crimson Tide, what is the worst they could do record-wise, and what is the best?
Well, the best they could do record-wise is going undefeated again. I mean, that would be the best they can do record-wise after doing it last year in a COVID-shortened season. Now, the worst they could do record-wise would be, I think the worst they could do would be to lose 3 games. Lose 3 games would be the worst they could do record-wise. And that's happened before, going back to 2010. But I think that would be the worst they can do. And that would come down to having untimely injuries. That would come down to Bryce and Bill O'Brien not being on the same page. That would go down to, the defense really, really, truly struggling. That would entail a number of things. So we will see what happens. I know at media days it concluded with Alabama, with the media picking Alabama to win the SEC West, win the SEC championship, the media having Alabama with 16 guys from the preseason all SEC team, including 8 first-teamers, 6 of those 8 first-teamers coming on defense. But defense is going to play with its hair on fire, Sting. This is going to be an angry, fearsome defense taking the field. My main thing offensively is if Bill O'Brien, Bryce Young, they hit it off well, and you have that balance within the run and pass game, it's going to be a very fun team to watch.
Yes. And my follow-up to that question right here, sitting here before the season starts, which matchup scares you the most?
Oh, man, which matchup scares me the most? Man, that's a good question. Whew, which matchup scares me the most? You know what? I'm gonna go with this one. The matchup that scares me the most is this Ole Miss matchup. And the reason why the Ole Miss matchup scares me is Lane Kiffin's a different dude.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin is just a completely different dude. And I know he's got the antics on Twitter, and I know he can kind of say some things that catch you off in left field, but the guy can flat out coach. And you look at what he's got back. Matt Corral at quarterback is a very confident young man. Then you've got, wide receivers back. I know they lost Elijah Moore, but Ole Miss has got a bunch of receivers back. They have taken John Rice Plumlee. They've moved him from quarterback to slot receiver. And that is crazy in itself, having John Rice Plumlee as a slot receiver. Then they've got, some pieces on defense that they brought back. And just Lane coached at Bryant-Denny for 3 years as an offensive coordinator. And him coming back to Bryant-Denny with the knowledge that he has, that's just kind of eerie for me. I'm not saying Bama loses the game, but it's just eerie, having a guy that the confidence of Lane Kiffin and the quarterback in Matt Corral in Jeff Lebby's offense, which, by the way, Jeff Lebby is an offensive mastermind, if you will. So you got 2 offensive masterminds on the same sideline. Again, that's an eerie game, Sting. That's going to be an eerie game.
Yes. Well, Stephen, look, man, thank you so much for joining us. And before we let you go, can you please tell us where we can find you on social media and tell everybody about the couple of shows that you do?
Well, absolutely. They can find me on social media at Coaching M. Smith. That's Coaching M. Smith on Twitter, where I'm not covering the Crimson Tide. I help coach some kids here back home in the Perry County area. So that's at Coaching M. Smith on Twitter. They can find me on Facebook, Stephen M. Smith on Facebook. That's Stephen M. Smith on Facebook. I have a site I work for, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. You can find them on Twitter at TD Alabama Mag. That's at TD Alabama Mag on Twitter. Touchdown Alabama Magazine on Facebook. The site is touchdownalabama.com, where we break down the Crimson Tide from all angles. The show that I have myself with Touchdown Alabama Magazine is entitled In My Own Words. That's In My Own Words on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time, where we break down the Crimson Tide. Of course, we have the CTS studio with the Bama Standard, CTS interview room, the Bama Standard, with myself, with Justin Riley, Marvin Constant, Steve Brown. Those guys do an unbelievable job. They do a fantastic job every Tuesday from 6 to 7, bringing on the Bama legends. My man Joseph, Joey Lazada, beard hat. Joe Lazada does his thing there, producing it from behind the scenes. But yes, the Bama Standard CTS studio room every Tuesday from 6 to 7.
Well, man, thank you so much for your time, and hopefully we can do it again throughout the season.
Appreciate it, Sting. Thank you.
All right, guys, and we're back, and we really, really want to thank Stephen M. Smith for joining us tonight right here on 3rd and 3, and I've got one final thing for the both of you guys before we sign off. Do y'all have any final words for each other, Joey and Tom?
Bye.
Hey, all right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of 3rd and 3. We hope all of you have enjoyed it. And one more time, you can catch us right here on the CTS. And you can also catch Stephen M. Smith's other show, the Bama Standard, right here on the CTS. And we will see you guys next week right here on 3rd and 3.
Well,
have a great week. And as always,
Sting, you got to do it. You got to do it. You did it last week. Do it again.
What you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do when 3rd and 3 takes over the CTS on you?
And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Just like Clemson, the championship hopes.